Hey everybody, welcome to Saturday Scares with Kyle. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Kyle and Nick on Film YouTube channel, of which you're watching currently. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We are here today to talk about a recent film, one directed by Andre Overdahl, and it's one that I've been hotly looking forward to for many, many years, as it had languished in development hell. I saw it last year in the theater, got a chance to rewatch it with the wife recently. We're talking about The Last Voyage of the Demeter. So, full disclosure, this movie is set during the Captain's Log chapter of Dracula. So it is part of the Dracula novel. This is just a more expanded upon version of that chapter, if you will. Director Andre Overdahl, along with screenplay writers Bragi Schut and Zach Olkowitz, came basically together to develop the idea of what that story of the Demeter is. Because oftentimes in Dracula adaptations, filming a whole sequence on a boat, and especially when it's written kind of in journalistic form like the Dracula novel is, would be tough to do for production-wise, So in a lot of Dracula films, they gloss over the Demeter section, or it's done very quickly, just kind of in and out, just get it over with. Because it's usually, I would think that set piece would be expensive to put together. And I also think it tends to just get missed, too, and just generally, I think a lot of people have looked at it as like less important when we're adapting such a expansive novel as Dracula. So it's cool to see this chapter just dragged out into a full feature film and kind of get to dive into the characters on there. I love what Universal is doing and what they're trying to do with a lot of their Universal monsters. I love that they tried to do the Monsterverse, or the Dark Universe is what they called it. I love that they tried that. I wish it had worked, and I wish they'd actually taken more stabs at it after The Mummy failed. Try some other things with it beforehand. But films, that even ones I didn't care for as much, like Renfield, I really love that they made that movie, even if it didn't work for me. I love that they made this movie. I love that they're diving in and finding unique ways to tell their horror icons. And that's what they're doing here. It is that chapter of the Captain's Log as it goes through, and it follows Clemens, played by Corey Hawkins. You'll remember him from BlacKkKlansman as well as Straight Outta Compton. He was on The Walking Dead for a while. Corey Hawkins plays Clemens, who is a doctor who gets aboard this boat, the Demeter, and being captained by Captain Elliot, who you'll recognize as Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones. Davos Seaworth gets to be on a boat again. So, and he plays Elliot, who is basically the captain of the ship, who is trying to make it to port. It's his last voyage. He's only 3 days from retirement. And he is just about to finish his career as a captain of the Demeter. And all of a sudden they realize they're on board with something monstrous. Something has been brought on board, and it's Dracula. So I really love that the attempt is being made on this film. I think it is struggling a bit in its middle section. And the reason why I say that, I'll get the part I didn't like out of the way. It is a little wash, rinse, repeat of its slasher vibes, basically, is that at night, the creature comes out, kills a person, they find the body the next morning. They worry about what's going on, then they all go to sleep as if nothing happened, and the killer gets up and kills another person on board. Like, it does that for a good portion of the middle act of the film, which does tend to lag out what's going on, because I think what's happening at the beginning, what's happening at the end, the mystery, and trying to stop the creature is really good. I think those things work really well. It's just that it does get a little bit monotonous in the middle section. And I think that was more so the case when I saw it the first time than rewatching it, knowing that was how the realm was going to take. I like that we have differing ideas of what's happening on board, because the life of a boatsman tends to be one of superstition. There's a lot of superstitious things that are done on a sailing vessel, especially during that time period, and the film tackles that pretty well. You have David Dastmalchian, who is becoming, he is a horror icon. The man's a horror icon. He hosts the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. He was just in Late Night with the Devil, this film, The Boogeyman. He's creepy as hell in The Dark Knight. He's creepy as hell in Dune. Even movies where he's not asked to be creepy, he's creepy as hell. David Dastmalchian is a horror icon right now. And it's nice to see him as playing the character who's kind of torn between his loyalty to the captain and his disloyalty to Clemens, and their opposing views of things. We have Anna, who is a stowaway, who is kind of his familiar in some ways, Dracula's creature. And she's played by Aisling Franciosa. I think she does a really great job of giving us a lot of our exposition because she knows Dracula the creature. Now, again, There were certain things I would have changed if I'd been making it. I would have changed up a little bit of that second act. I would have given us more time of Dracula in human form, sulking through before he like goes vampiric, because he is spending all of his time in that beast mode, as you will, that giant creature version of Dracula, which is very cool and more practical effects used than I expected. It seemed like there was a lot of CG in there, but I did see a lot of work of Javier Botet. I believe it was Javier Botet playing Dracula in the film under makeup, and that looked really, really good. It's just a little glossier under that kind of Universal Pictures CG looking aesthetic, but the movie does feature some really great practical effects as well. It's a fantastic little horror film, and I'm surprised it didn't get the love that I think it deserved. I had a lot of fun with it, and I think that its unique take on the Dracula mythos makes it worthwhile seeing, even if you've seen every version of Dracula, which I have. I love most of the Dracula adaptations I've seen because I just love the character. I love the novel. I love the story. I love the legend and the darkness and the lore and the romance, and everything about Dracula works for me. So seeing this alternate take on Dracula from that lens is kind of captivating to me. Now, there is an ending stinger that kind of leads you to believe that they wanted to make this into a franchise, which confuses the hell out of me because I don't really know what else you would tell following this story except for Dracula, you know? So I'm not really sure what the hell the plan was with that, or if it was just meant to be kind of a fun stinger. But I'd be open to seeing what they would want to do with it. I would like them to maybe to stick to elements of the Dracula novel and maybe expand upon those, or have one of the characters in this follow-up kind of running concurrently to the Dracula story and intersecting with the characters. I'd be interested in that. Oh, yeah. But for me right now, The Last Voyage of the Demeter is a fun little horror movie, and I really enjoyed it. And I do like telling people to check it out. I like recommending this one. I've been following it for close to 7 or 8 years, so I feel like very much a part of the critical team that is bringing it to the masses, that is trying to help deliver this film, and I quite enjoyed The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And I hope you will too. Go ahead and check it out. I believe it's available on streaming right now as well as home video purchase. I've got my Blu-ray right here. Check out the film and then leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. There's a number of people that have disagreed with me about this film, but I can always understand their takes, and that's what I appreciate about this online forum, is that we get a chance to talk about movies, because I'm going to love movies that you're not going to love, and vice versa, and I think that's special about the format. So go ahead and leave your thoughts down there, and make sure you like and subscribe. They're free things you can do that support the channel, and you never miss new episodes of our show as they drop. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Scares with Kyle. Next week, we return to the land of the giant stone men as we talk about the kaiju sequel, The Return of Daimajin. Join us for that.